Decepticons are attacking Autobot City? I can't deal with that right now. I'm busy watching a video review from Optibotimus.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Takara Tomy Transformers Masterpiece 22, the Cybertron City Commander. Now, I don't mean that guy from Fans Project, and I don't mean that thing that was made by a fried chicken company. I am talking about the one and only Ultra Magnus. As you can see for the package, a real nice shot here of both Magnus in both robot and vehicle mode. You got the nice Transformers Masterpiece logo right up there. Coming around here to the side, you got the logo on the other side. Same logo. Top, you got a nice action image of Ultra Magnus, and then on the back, various actual product shots, and it even says down here that this is the actual size, so that's how big he is. You got some text that I unfortunately cannot read, and then all the various accessories, kind of display options that you can actually have with this guy, including interacting with Optimus Prime, him being able to hold the Matrix itself, in trailer mode carrying some of the car Autobots. You got both Daniel and Spike, and then a comparison shot of Ultra Magnus and Masterpiece 10 Optimus Prime. Really very cool and super excited about getting this guy. For all intents and purposes, this is only the second character that we've gotten in terms of Masterpiece figures that debuted in the original animated movie. So I'm really excited about getting this guy. So without further ado, let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Masterpiece Ultra Magnus opened up and out of its packaging. And much like all Masterpiece figures, you do get this nice instruction manual taking this out. You got a nice image here on the front, and you open it up, and it has a little bit of a story here, which unfortunately I can't read. You got the contents of the package coming around here to the next page, and we start getting some of the features like the expressive nature. He comes with two different face sculpts. I also find it fascinating that they found a place to actually store those extra faces, which is kind of weird, but I'll show that off. You got a bit on here where you can see that he can hold the Matrix of Leadership. Now, he does come with extra hands that are specifically designed to hold the Matrix. That came with MP10. Now, I do wish that he kind of came with one just because it would help sell the figure a little bit more, I think, but I guess they assume that people already have MP10, and then here's the hands that can switch out. They're just on little ball joints, but then you can get this look, which is hilarious. So you can utilize that. Also, it shows his actual handgun as well as the missiles. They aren't firing, but they can detach, which is very cool. And then you got the transformation instructions here, which are actually really very good. Sometimes instructions are hit or miss. This one's actually pretty good, and you can see that the final mode is his car carrier mode. And then it highlights that Spike and Daniel can actually sit in there, and I have them in there right now, so you'll be able to see that. And you can also position his missiles here in a couple different ways. You can do it here on the side, which is where they are more commonly seen, or also in the front, which some people might like as well. But on the back here, I really do like it because you have a history of Ultra Magnus, starting off with the 1986 figure, going all the way through the history, listing all the Magnus figures that we've gotten up till today. And I find it fascinating. I mean, I love looking back and seeing some of these old ones. I mean, they're really very cool looking, and it's neat to kind of revisit that. So I do like that. He also does come with a collector card, which is just, it's a cardboard card. It's kind of like plastic laminated, but I wouldn't even say that its credit card thickness is, it's thinner than a credit card. And honestly, it feels thinner than the recent generation cards that we've been getting with like the Combiner War figures. But I do like it. I love the art on there. You come around here on the back, and unlike those generation ones, it actually has his bio as well as tech specs, and you can see he's pretty much blinging all the way across the board. I mean, after all, he is the city commander, so I guess you would expect that. But here he is, and I am absolutely in love with this. Now, the immediate comparison will be to the third-party KFC's Citizen Stack. And I'm going to tell you right now that I sold that after buying it to review it because I knew this was coming out. And honestly, having played with this, I do not regret that decision at all. It's not to say that the KFC Citizen Stack was a bad figure. It actually has some points about it that are better than the official Masterpiece Magnus, but overall, this is a better figure. Vehicle mode, though, you can see really nails that car carrier mode. Absolutely looks wonderful. You got a nice Autobot logo there, of course, on there. Now, there have been speculation early on that this was going to come with a fully transformable white MP10, and that all this was just going to be armor that attaches to it. That, I feel, was a rumor that was started and kind of fueled by some online retailers that made it sound like this was going to be a fully transformable MP10, and it actually is not. This is all integrated into one piece. Takara did a really nice job of kind of homaging that actual G1 character and not necessarily the toy. Now, I know a lot of fans were really hoping for more of a toy homage, but I'm really happy with what they did here, and it looks terrific. Now, one thing that is absolutely wonderful, you can come around here to the bottom and you can see you got a little latch that pushing this forward, you can remove this and you can have a fully independent cab section. You have the trailer, you can set that off to the back, and you can have this if you want. And this is really good, and this is actually what I'm going to use to kind of compare it to MP10. But right on the inside here, it's kind of hard to see because it's a little bit dark inside there, but you got Spike and Daniel in there. Now I can take this and I'll just lift this piece with my fingernail if I can get it. There you go. Get some light in there, and you can actually see the guys in there. And we'll touch on those here in a little bit, but you can see they sit right in there. I'm going to go ahead and take them out for right now and set them off to the side. And then you can just close this, locks that back together, and boom. Again, really nice. And it really does look like MP10. So right up front, getting through the actual comparisons, here you have them next to MP10. Now, again, because this is not a transformable one, there are some differences like the actual back section here. And unfortunately, there is no way that you can take this and attach that there. This, as you can see down here, is a rounded little connector. There are just little slots on here, so there's no way to get him carrying that around, which it kind of stinks, but why would you want to have him do that anyhow? Keep these little mirrors out. But I mean, overall, same look, and I dig it. I think it's really well done, and this right here, I think, nicely homages that original G1 toy. The fact that you would have a cab that was a repaint of Optimus Prime, and here you go. That's what you basically have, and it's done beautifully. Now, people have talked about the red first bumper. That is cartoon accurate, so I don't have a problem with that so much. But again, people that want that G1 toy recreation may not be too happy with that, because now for that comparison, here is the G1 cab, and it's disgustingly yellowed. I feel so bad because of how bad this is. I haven't played with this guy in a long time, but you can see it's pretty bad. I'm gonna have to replace that at some point in time, but he just has the regular silver chrome. But again, they're going with that cartoon look, so this isn't going to be it. So I do think they struck a nice balance in terms of giving us kind of that G1 toy, but making it so that it's all incorporated into one piece. And that being said, you don't really even have to detach this if you don't want to. You can't even actually detach this while you're transforming it, so it's all personal preference, but you just got a little lever right here that slides it, and then you put that in there, and you have Magnus's head hanging out there. You just bring that in there, and then that little lever here you just move, locks that into place, and it keeps it nice and secure. But vehicle mode, this guy looks really very nice. Now, you can have them actually carry some vehicles. You come around here to the back. This can slide down. You can detach this from the side like so, and if you want to, you can angle this down. I always thought that was kind of weird because it's like, it's very gappy right here. Maybe even lower that like that. I don't know. It's very gappy, so it's like, I can't imagine, you know, Prowl coming around here and being able to drive up this very easily because there's a giant gap, but you can. Look, I'm playing with it. It's stupid. Just put this up there. Keep this up. Lock that right back along the side. Lock that on the side. But carrier wise, you can bring that there. I do like how they actually have little grooves kind of here and here that kind of fit where the tires would go, just to kind of hold it in place. You can kind of see it sticks up there. But bringing in some more cars, I got a whole bunch of cars right here. You can put Bumblebee there. You can take Wheeljack, stick him right up there like that. You can take Sideswipe, cram him up there, put that in there, and now car carrier. Actually, that really does look kind of bad where it's just sitting there, because it's the bottom piece. So you just set that there, and I mean, cool, right? I mean, seriously, it's cool. I really dig it. Really, really neat. His missiles, like I said, they can be positioned here on the side. Or one thing that's also cool, you can see you got a gap right here. These can actually, don't detach it. These can actually rotate around, spin like that, and they can actually tuck in that section right there, which is neat. That opens. That just tabs in there. But I think that's neat how they actually have that, and you can see that it just fills that in if you want to have it sitting there right in the front. I don't particularly care. I like it on the side a little bit more just because it's, like I said, a little bit more cartoon accurate, and that's what I go for with these. As I said, these missiles can detach. They are in a kind of missile looking pattern, but there's no firing spring or anything like that in there, so that just locks in there very nicely. I do dig that he has rubber tires. The problem though, and I talked about this before, I mean, people like having the rubber tires. I prefer the plastic ones because looking at my Masterpiece Optimus 10 and it's Masterpiece Optimus 10, whatever, Masterpiece 10 Optimus Prime, that's a little gappy, you can see the tires have all cracked. Every single one of these tires. These front ones really haven't, although you can kind of see, it's starting to. You can see that it's getting a little gappy right there. All of these have split, and I've unfortunately had to glue them on there just so that the tires actually stay in place. I don't like plastic tires. Or, I'm sorry, I don't like rubber tires. I prefer plastic because you're not going to get this. When you're paying that much money, I don't want anything like that to go wrong. And while they're nice, and this guy does have all rubber tires, it's something that absolutely concerns me. My Masterpiece Optimus, it did it within a few months of actually having the figure, so it really does disappoint me. So we'll have to see. Now, for the Spike and Daniel figures, we have gotten Daniel recently in terms of the exosuit version with Bumblebee, and here are the new guys, and he's wearing they're wearing their suits that they were wearing in the post-movie era, and they look pretty good. I mean, people have obviously complained about them because, well, Spike looks okay, but Daniel's, I don't know what's up with Daniel and his hips. It's like they took Spike's legs almost. Well, no, because they're actually a little bit shorter. But you can see that his hips don't lie. It's really kind of unfortunate. They also didn't paint the face, which people have complained about, but I mean, it's one of those things where I'm a little bit indifferent to it. By comparison to the Spike that comes with MP10, you can see that he's a little bit bigger. I mean, Spike, I mean, it's a weird thing because, well, I guess it's not too bad. He is a little bit taller here, but you got all three of the guys right there. The camera's having a hard time focusing, but you can basically see what's going on. I do like that the new Spike is a little bit taller. It just kind of gives him a, you know, hey, this guy was a teenager. He's more of a grown-up. And Daniel here is a little kid, and I think that actually scales pretty decently. Now, to transform him, there's actually a couple different ways that you can do it. First, you can just leave the cab attached to the actual trailer and transform it all as one piece. Or you can go ahead and remove the cab, and it makes it a little bit easier, but I'm going to show you how to do it basically the full-on proper way with the cab attached. Now, first, you do want to remove his weapon. Now, I didn't touch on this, but it is actually stored right here in between the two sides here. So you just go ahead and separate that, pull that out, and you have his gun. You can see it's got this nice purple paint application on here. You got the handle that just folds down. I'll touch on this a little bit more when I actually have him in his robot mode, but that's kind of the first step to transforming him. Next, you want to come around here to the side, kind of take this section right here and just pull right there. It'll bend this and then it'll pull it out. It actually is easier when you're latching it to keep it like that, and then kind of angle this down so you can see. So you're going to put it on an angle like that and then push it in. That'll lock it in. So when you're pulling it out, it's a little bit easier to do it like that as well. Just swivel that all the way around. Do that on both sides, just like that. And then go ahead and detach the top ramp. You're going to just kind of flop that around and get that out of the way. Then you can actually take the legs and then split those right down the middle. Take this section, rotate this down. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, you have to take this. This is going to rotate to the back of them and then rotate that forward. Go ahead and do that on this side as well. So you're going to rotate this down, bring this up just like that. Come around here to the bottom of the feet. You can actually see the tires along the actual side. You take this, pull that out, and then rotate this around, and it actually reveals smaller kind of fake looking tires, which again looks really cartoon accurate. If you want to leave it look like the toy, you can leave it like that. It would stand fine, but you're going to have a little bit of a raise on the outer side. But going like that, rotate that around, tuck that back in, just like so. Come around here, we're going to stand them up. Then these bits right here, you're going to rotate these all the way around and then bring them down, and then you got a little tab right here, and then on the underside of this piece, you bring it up and it locks into place. Do that on this side as well. Bring that in and lock that into place, and basically you have his legs done. So I mean, that's pretty, it's an actual fairly easy transformation. Coming up here to the top, we're going to work on the actual cab section. So go ahead and take these, you're going to detach or push these in just like so. Make sure you push those all the way. Then you take this whole section on the inside here, kind of move this out of the way, and then take this little piece. It's hard to see, but bring this, get that in here. Let me separate this. You can actually see it a little bit better if I have this rotated out. You got this section right here. You're going to rotate this down. That's his little cod piece. One thing I am noticing though is that in doing this rotation here, it is putting some stress marks right on this piece right here. You bring it up and you clip it in there, and where it clips right up in here, you can see that it seems to put pressure on this, and this whole section here does flex a little bit, and right there it is forming a stress. So you might not want to push it all the way to lock it into place. It just more or less kind of hides his head, and then I guess gives a little bit of a flat surface where you can actually hide or store the car. But you can see when you pull that out, there puts a lot of stress right on that, and I am worried about that. So I'm not going to be pushing that all the way up, but you can see that it leaves those marks, and unfortunately you can see that here in the robot mode. It's very unfortunate, but straightening these out just like so. Go ahead and take these little bits right here. You're going to rotate these around. Do that on this side as well, just tucking those, and then you can tuck the actual mirrors here on the side. Take this whole section. This will detach. Again, I don't have a nail to do it very well with, so here we go. I'll just bring out my little screwdriver, wedge that in there, pull this whole thing out, put it right back, and then fold this down just like so, just setting that there. Get this out of the way. His arms will move all the way down when we're completing the transformation. So you just accordion this piece up and into his back section. Bring this all the way in like so. These little pieces here will slide out, and then you got little holes on the inside of the tires, that little round pegs right here. Rotate around and then squeeze in and lock into place. So do that on that side as well. Lock that in, bring this up, lock that there right like so. This whole section here, once you get it lined up properly, will squeeze and push into place. There's a little on the inside here, there's a little tab that as you're squeezing it, you'll feel it. I kind of moved that. You'll feel it push in, and it'll create that resistance, and it'll keep it locked in. Then you come around here to the side, move these up. You can swivel these back like so. These are going to push and lock into place. Rotate them around just like that. You got his head out here. This whole section here, if you didn't bring this down, just bring this down. That'll push and lock down as well. Then these arms, you bring these sections up, and what's this? Oh, actually, I forgot. On the inside here, you want to take these little panels, push those in on both sides, then rotate this around, locks into place, and then swivel his arm down. Then pull this whole section out from the body, rotate this around. This whole piece right here should angle up a little bit more, but you can see it. Bring that up, bring this down, that tabs into place, rotate that down, set that right there. Do that on this side as well. Rotate out here at the shoulder, bring this up, get that out of the way, locks that into place. Rotate the arm at the shoulder, bring this piece up here, and then this is going to come around and cover that top gap section just like so. Bring this around, bring that up, get that out of the way, squeeze that into place, rotate this all the way down just like that. Keep these arms out, kind of straighten out his body a little bit so you can kind of see what's happening. Keep these arms out here at the shoulder so that you have clearance, and then you just angle these up. Those will lock into place there. Do that on this side there as well. Lock that into place. Straighten them out. You can bring these arms all the way forward. Now you can actually collapse them all the way in, and that's how he's supposed to look. But honestly, I don't like leaving them all the way in there, because then you get this giant forearm rubbing on this. So I just leave them out a little bit, like so. I don't push them all the way in. Plus, it also allows you to actually articulate them a little bit more. But once you do get it all done, there you have Ultra Magnus in his robot mode. This guy gets absolutely gigantic, both in height as well as bulk. I mean, look how massive he is. Now, getting the comparisons out of the way right up front, here he is. And here he is next to his G1 self. And much like the G1 version, this new Masterpiece Magnus is really large. I mean, Ultra Magnus, both in the cartoon and G1 toy, was oversized and much bigger than a lot of the other toys and other characters. And I love seeing that they kind of continued that with this new Masterpiece figure. There is some discoloration in this, but you can see that there is a much more cartoon accurate blue with this. And I'm glad they went with it. I like it. I think it looks great. That, in addition to the red and the white, really do pop and look beautiful together. And here he is next to those other Masterpiece car figures that I brought in for vehicle mode comparison, and you can see that he is huge. I mean, definitely towers over MP10 as well as the rest of just the Carbots, but scale-wise, it is fairly close. Much better, I really do think, than that Citizen Stack figure. But honestly, Ultra Magnus was never really around a lot of these guys, so how about we bring in a little bit more relevant of a comparison. And here we have him next to MP09 Masterpiece Rodimus Prime, or specifically in the Hot Rod configuration, where he's a little bit smaller. But again, size, I think, works very nicely. And now that we got two of these Autobots from the movie, maybe we should start getting some Decepticons from it as well. Now, like I was saying, he does come with his gun, and as you can see, the biggest thing that I don't like about this gun is it's pretty small. You can tab that in there. Much like all the other Masterpiece figures, you got a little tab on the inside there that holds that in, and then you can bring the hand around. I mean, the gun just seems a little bit too small for him. I kind of wish that he had more of a blaster look, but I can't complain too much because honestly, it does nicely homage the way that the original G1 toy gun looked. I mean, all the way down from the handle down here and the handle right here. I mean, it works very nicely. I love how they homage those different guns and stuff, but this just looks terrific. And I mean, I do like it. I just, like I said, I wish it was a little bit bigger. Now, removing this, also, he does come with the ability to change faces, as I talked about. This is kind of hard pain in the butt to do. What's hilarious is if you come around here to the back, take this section and bring this down, there are actually little spots right here where you can take the extra face and store it. I mean, it's specifically, as you can see, like it's got a little round hole here and then a little notch that goes up. That's what these have, and you can take that and you can actually store that there. Why they thought of doing that, I have absolutely no idea. It's really strange, but you got two of them there, so I don't know why they gave you two spots there unless you want to take both the faces off and put it on there. And I guess you could do that because what's funny is to remove it and change the face out, what you do, you just kind of grab hold of the head here and pull this off. It's kind of frictioned on there. But when you take it off, that's what you're left with. And it's kind of creepy, but what's really cool is it nicely homages that original G1 toy again, and the fact that when you took the helmet off, it was a white Optimus Prime head down there, and you got that going on here. You got the white head, you got the makeshift little mouthpiece, you got the blue eyes. I mean, it looks really cool. And then all you do with this is you just slide this out just like so. Then you take this, tab that on there, and then you put it back on. Now, one thing that I also do want to touch on is that this entire inner part of the head, the antennas, and the white Optimus Prime head are all die cast. It's painted and everything, but it is metal and everything, which is really very nice. And then you can put this on there, and you can create that screaming look that he had in a couple scenes in the movie, specifically when he was kind of playing with the Matrix of leadership. Now, coming back, one thing that I touched on was that he doesn't come with the Matrix. This is the one from MP10, and like I showed you before, you got two additional hands or I talked about before, and all you do is you just take this and you just wedge these in there like that, and then you wedge it in like that, and you can have it look like he's holding the Matrix, although it doesn't. I can't get it tabbed in there very well. I mean, I don't think there's a specific way to do it, but maybe there is. There are little notches that are in there, so yeah, maybe it's supposed to be something like this. You can do that, and to remove these, they're on just ball joints, so you just give these a little pull, but it is a little bit stiff to do, and then you can put this on there just like that. And it's kind of complicated to do this. You do have to keep his arms angled out, kind of bring this above his head, and it's one of those, you really are displaying it with it over his head. So pulling this out, it's tough, but I mean, you can pull it out fairly easily, and then bring this over, and then pop that in there, and you got him trying to open up the matrix of leadership. Okay, I mean, you can do it. I'm not that big of a fan of it, but I do like that they actually included it. It's a display option, but if you're going to do the full display option, I think they should have given him a matrix. It just seems to make sense that if you're going to include the hands for it, include what the hands can actually hold, because maybe not everybody has the actual MP10. So getting these all situated back down, get that like that. The other cool thing is his chest can open. You can see this piece here. It's kind of tabs down, opens, very, very cartoon accurate, opens just like so. You can see a lot of real nice detail in there. And then the matrix, you just can fit it in just like so. So if you wanted to have your Ultra Magnus being the leader of the Autobots, you can do it. It's just weird with that actual face on there. I'm not a big fan of that face either. So take this off, set that down, put the other one back on. It's just a much better face, and I'm sure a third-party company will probably come around and do something with that to give more faces, but I just think that that looks cool. I'm not a big fan of having the matrix in there, and it's a little bit tricky to get out. You kind of push on one side and pull it out. It's much easier to get in and out than MP10s, but you do have that as a display option, as I mentioned. Now, for his articulation, what I will say is this is not as articulated as that Citizen Stack. It's less posable as a consequence of that. But the head is on this nice joint that allows it to look up and down, left and right. It doesn't really look down too much, but that's about as far down as it goes. The shoulders here is one of the biggest aspects of it. Now, if you keep that all the way locked in, you're only going to get that kind of motion with it. And like I said, I don't like that it rubs. I mean, you can hear it hitting it. I don't like that. So I leave it out a little bit, and then it allows you to bend it one joint out. You can't bring it all the way out, and if you wanted to do more dynamic poses, you could do something like that, but all it's going to do is bend up and down at one additional ratchet above the center spot. So that is kind of unfortunate. Rotates here at the shoulder. One thing that's also kind of unfortunate is there's a lot of ratchet joints. I really wish that this was a ratchet joint going around, but unfortunately it isn't. So getting that back in there, yeah, but well, there's another ratchet. Rotates here at the shoulder, I'm sorry, the elbow. Nice heavy ratchet joint. I do kind of wish that it was a little bit longer of a gap here, because as it is, kind of looks like his arms are a little bit squat. The wrists here are on ball joints, so you can get them rotating very nicely. The thumb is static, but the individual fingers, they bend. Well, the finger here bends, and then these ones are all attached. So you got that little bit of articulation. Unfortunately, nothing at the waist, but I can understand it because that's where all of this junk is. I don't really think they could have done much with that kind of articulation, but that's something that Citizen Stack did have. So you can't really rotate them. The hips here move forward, back on some nice ratchets as well. You got these little pieces right here that do flare out, so you can move in and out, and you can hear really heavy, I mean, they're just kind of like friction joints, but I mean, you can bend it, and I mean, he's keeping that pose up just like so. I mean, so the joints are very stiff right there, but almost a little bit too much, like there's rubber in there, and then in doing that, that could damage it. I don't know. I'm specifically thinking of the Hot Toys Iron Man Mark 42 that had that, and it kind of ruined that O-ring in there, so I don't know if that'll actually do it, but it does rotate here at the upper part of the thigh. He doesn't have a lower thigh joint. I mean, you can see where one would kind of be, like right here, there's a cut for it, but it actually doesn't move. He moves forward and back here at the actual knee, and I mean, even a little bit too forward with the knee. And then you come down here, and he actually does have ankle pivots, so you can get him getting a nice wide pose. People have complained about his butt flap. I do want to touch on that a little bit. That's something that people have said, oh, well, it's good, you know, cartoon accurate. And yes, he did have a bit of a skirt. As you can see, he does have the skirt piece right here on the side. The back part of his skirt, though, did not come down all the way to his knees, and that's where this one does. You can leave it up, but it does look weird from the side. I kind of just leave it on an angle. I do kind of wish there was a way that you could have collapsed this up a little bit more. Like if you could take this section right here with the actual front windshield, if that could slide up somehow, I think that would be pretty good, and that would be a good size for his little butt skirt. But as it is, yes, it is a accurate piece, but it is not this big. It should be about half that. But all in all, I understand why they did it, and I think that it still looks really good, especially when you're looking at it from the front and something like this. I guess for the final accessories is little shoulder missiles like I showed you. You can remove those. It doesn't have that spring gimmick as I mentioned, but you do have that. So, I mean, really an absolutely terrific piece. I think that they did a great job on it. I still don't think it is like the pinnacle of masterpiece designs. I do think that's more just MP10. Everything about that just seemed to really come together. And while this is an absolute wonderful representation and far better than anything that we've gotten before, I do think there is some room for improvement. But that being said, I am absolutely happy with this guy. He is massive, he is cool looking, it all screams Ultra Magnus, and I absolutely love it. Okay, now to transform him back, first come around here to the top. We're going to take these bits right here, we're going to rotate those around. You got a little hole right here, and you got the little actual peg for it. Just tuck that in, just like that. Do that on both sides, and then take these, separate these, and just kind of explode these all out just like so. Come around here to the hand, straighten out his arms, close his fists. That's not an actual step, but you know what I mean. Open this and then bring both of these two halves together. One thing that is kind of ugly, I mean, you can see a little bit of leftover kind of scarring from where the plastic sprues were. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but you basically don't have much of a choice. I mean, it stinks. There's no question about it, but what are you gonna do, right? Open this, do this again, get that out like that, collapse that down just like so. Come around here to the back of him. Now this whole section, like you could see in the beginning part, I mean, this all folds down and creates his arm. You have to push this little piece right here. It's right along the side. You have to push this and then lift this, because that's the part here that actually locks it into place. So push that towards the body and then pull this up and extend that out just like so. Kind of get that out of the way. Do that on this side as well. Do that, and then this whole thing folds all the way out just like so. Then take this whole section, give this a light tug away from the body. Now some people have thought that maybe this would stress out, and there are some stress marks right here because this comes around here and collapses into this section right there. It doesn't look too bad, honestly, and the more that I look at it, it just kind of looks like extra flash from the plastic again, but just be careful as you're doing it. And then you rotate these around, just getting these out of the way. You're going to spin this all the way around and angle this up. That'll be on that side. Angle this up. That'll be on that side. Then you're just going to spin these around, get that off to the side like so. Do that on this side as well. Put that there. We'll fiddle with all this here in a little bit, but bring these together, and then you can tab these, but odds are they're probably going to come detached at some point in time. But I just like leaving these out there so that you can angle these and kind of flex it out of the way. Now straighten out the head. This section here, you want to pull this away from the body just like so. Do that on this side as well, away from the body, kind of pushing to detach it from the actual tire, and then bring these around just like that. And then come around here, angle this, pull this back, take this whole section, kind of keep that around like that. This whole section here, accordions down, and you can fold this around just like that. Bring these two sections, tuck those in. You can bring this over if you want to, but it's not necessary just yet. Take this, you want to lift this up just like so. If you want to store those faces, you can do that right now if you want to. And angle this, get these out of the way. These little guys, just flex up, and then bring this whole section back, and then you're going to bring this around, collapse all that together, and that just tabs in nicely. Kind of get these out of the way again, and you just fiddle with that till you get everything connected just like so. Go ahead, take these, you can rotate these around on both sides right now. Then you can have that. Now, like I said before, you can take this. This is the part that I was talking about earlier. You can just leave this like that, and that's how I'm going to do it from now on, because I'm not going to risk continuing to stress that. I guess you could, depending on where, I think it's actually this piece right here is a little bit too big. It comes down, and that's where the pressure feels like it is. So I don't really see how you could do anything other than shaving that down, and that's actually die cast. I didn't touch on the die cast parts too much. The face is die cast. This chest piece right here is die cast, and then he's got die cast down here in his feet. So you could shave down the plastic here to get it to fold over a little bit better, but I'm just going to put it there and not even bother with it. I mean, it really isn't that bad, and when these are up, it's covering that anyhow, so you don't really see it. So I'm just going to leave that up just like so. Come around here to the feet or legs, detach this, angle this out, detach that, angle that out, bring this up just like so. Go ahead, take this section, rotate that around, and then collapse that back up, creating the wheel. Take this section, rotate that out. And bring this up like that. Come around here to the other side. One thing that I will say in terms of the engineering and quality is that this is a less floppy mess than that. The Citizen Stack figure, I mean, as you can see, the stuff is holding up here. I mean, this is just kind of dangling there, but they're holding there. So it's not as floppy, and you're able to kind of transform them a little bit easier because of that. Rotate this up, and I really do appreciate that. And then you bring these two halves together, collapse these in, and these will lock into place. I'm just trying to position, there we go, like that, and then bring that back up. Bring that down just like so. And then it's just a matter of getting everything positioned where it's supposed to be. So oh, I forgot to take these. You got these little tires, you have to rotate these out just like so. Keep that just like that. There we are. And then bring this, like I said before, you want to kind of keep it angled as you're doing it. So bring that in like that, and then tuck it in, and then that'll push along the side just like so. Come around to the other side. This whole thing kind of did flop down. So bring that around like that. Bring this in, kind of angle this up inside here. Give that a nice push. That'll lock into place there. Then bring these pieces together there, bring them together back down here, keep that like so, come on. Then you got two little tabs here that lock the whole section into this back piece, just like so. Do that on this side as well for its stability. Kind of angle these out, get that out of the way just like that. Then these, collapse these down. Do that on this side as well. That frictions in nicely. Rotate that around, and I love this little piece right here. It just kind of completes the look. I guess you could store this at this point. You can take this, bring this in, and you got the little round and flat tabs right here that fit right inside. You can see the little hole right there, so just bring that around, and before you push it, everything together, I'm going to do that, bring that in just like that. Keep that together. Then, like I was saying, I love this. You got this gap right here that it's kind of ugly, but you got a little button right here. Just push this in, and I'm doing it with this because I don't have very long fingernails, and then it just fills that in. It's just a wonderful small little touch that just takes it a little bit further. So do that. And yeah, no, that actually came all the way down pretty good. And then you're just doing the little minor touches like angling this. It kind of gets caught right there, but you can get it. Bring these angled out just like so. If you want to, you can bring out Daniel and Spike. You can open this back up. I'm not going to, but you can put him back in there and set him there. And it's really big for I mean, compared to these human little guys right here. But there you have Ultra Magnus back in his vehicle mode, and I could not be happier with this. As I said previously, once I knew that this was coming out for sure and I saw the pictures, there was no question that this is the piece that I would want in my actual masterpiece display. And now having it in hand, it just reinforces my belief, and I am quite content in selling that Citizen Stack. The only thing that I really do feel that that third-party figure excelled at that was having a little bit better of articulation, but what this has is still pretty good. The size, the engineering, the overall quality of this piece, I feel far surpasses that, the third-party one. And now that's not to say that this figure is not without its problems. I really don't like the fact that they're using the rubber tires again, and it's something that I'm very concerned about over time, but I don't know how that's going to play out, so it's not something that I'm going to focus too much on. And then the whole section here with the chest, I really don't like how already transforming it has created stress marks on that. Now, it's very possible that I could do that a million different times and it would never break, but the stress is there and I'm always going to see it. But like I said, I can kind of mitigate it by just not putting this whole piece. I mean, you could just leave it all the way there if you really wanted to, just not pushing it all the way down, and I'm knocking over all my little men. I do wish that it came with another matrix. If you're going to go all out with a kind of a display option by giving them the hands for it, you probably should give them the thing to hold with those hands. But really, that's all that I personally think is wrong with this. As I said, I really do feel that this nicely homages both that original G1 toy and the original G1 character. I think they got a real nice balance going on here, and it turned out very good. And when we come to the transformation, it really isn't the most outstanding of engineering that we've gotten before. I really do think that NP10 is the best engineering that we've gotten so far on a Masterpiece Transformer. And a lot of the actual Carbots, like Sideswipe and Prowl and those kind of guys, I think are just a little bit better. But I think what they did here really has been pulled off fairly well. Enough that I enjoy doing it. And a lot of that enjoyment comes with the fact that, as you could see while I was doing it, he's not a floppy mess. To me, that speaks to the engineering and the design process for this, and another reason why official products excel in my opinion. Now ultimately it's going to come down to what you personally like, but this guy really has impressed me, and I couldn't be happier adding this to my Masterpiece display. So all that being said, if this is something that you're interested in picking up, he is available right now at Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You go to Big Bad Toy Store where you can pick this up and add it to your collection today. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that you can keep in touch with me by liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/TeamBotimus and by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/Optibotimus. Also, I'd encourage you to check out my new website at OptibotimusReviews.com, where you can see all my videos from the previous week, see what I have coming up for future release, and also get your very own Optibotimus t-shirt. And finally, I'd also really appreciate it, guys, that if you like this review, don't forget to please like, comment, and share this video. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.